Murder Game.
Murder Game.
10 years. TMG.
TMG.
Ooh, you should call it TMGX.
Yes!
Oh my goodness. You're welcome, Rob Harari.
Yes.
This is what happens when I sit on your lap, I just get ideas.
A lot of things get raised.
Like questions. What am I doing? And whatever's going on down here, also getting raised. But hey, it's working.
It's working.
I was never really into horror movies, to be honest with you.
I had this inner killer in me and I just had to let it out.
I've been told that I have nothing but positive memories of this entire experience.
Don't screw this up. You got one shot at this. Don't screw this up.
He said, I can't believe I'm going to ask you this. Can I hit you with my car? Yeah.
So I felt very badass.
Because there was that, like, everyone was so on board. Like, you know, the camaraderie you get quickly.
It was a great experience, and I'm glad that everyone was able to come together and be a part of it. And it's been really great that I got to be a part of it as well.
It does not feel like 10 years, but the calendar says so.
I was never really into horror movies, to be honest with you. You know, like the classics, you know, I'd make sure I'd watch, you know, I'd see the first Nightmare on Elm Street, but not the rest of them, or the first Friday the 13th, but not the rest of them, you know. So I was never really a big horror fan. I'm still not a big horror fan. But it was such a, I think it was the perfect first movie for me, because it was so fun, and the rules were kind of tossed aside. So it's a genre where you can really kind of get away with a lot more than other genres.
It was definitely a new experience for the majority of the actors. I know a lot of like cast and crew as well, like actually doing like a full-length feature film.
It was the first movie I ever did, and I wanted to be an actor, and it was so cool. Like, as much as I may have complained, I don't remember how much I complained about the drive or about the cold or whatever, but I complained, and then deep down I was like, so fucking awesome.
The Murder Game was one of the first movies that I got to work on. It was the first feature film that I ever got to work on. And I was still in college at the time. Rob and Jason were nice enough to bring me on with little to no experience.
I was in sound production, post-production sound. I was boom mic operator. I was stunt double, a little bit of set design, catering, any place that needed help, I just stepped into it.
I had a lot of book knowledge, but no street smarts on the show, and I learned a lot.
I was a complete amateur with boom micing, but I was all we had at that point.
I remember thinking that I knew what I was doing. I had no idea.
It was an adventure. It was such an experience because it was the first time. We all wanted to be there. It was such a good chemistry with the group. Everybody got along. Everybody was cool. It was a nice little family. So I looked forward to coming and filming overnight and going to class next morning. It was just part of the ride.
I just love the camaraderie between everyone.
All the fun that we had, all the experiences that the cast and crew had together to make this great film. That's what I take away from it. That's one of the best feelings of all.
The sets are always that weird mix of like fun and hectic. But it's fun because there was that, like, everyone was so on board. Like, you know, the camaraderie you get quickly. But I mean, the shoot in general, it had a fun vibe, which was nice, you know. Because you also have those shoots where everyone hates each other at 2 in the morning, you know. At 10, everyone was friends yet. At midnight, everyone's annoyed, and by 2, everyone wants to kill each other. But it wasn't like that. Like, everyone was kind of, it was definitely one of those sets where everyone was in it to make the best product possible.
You're hanging out with people 20, you know, all day and then all night, maybe catching little naps here and there. So you quickly created like a bond with folks, and then you almost didn't want to leave them. And you're like, I'll just spend the night too, even though I'm not even needed.
I mean, we'd hang out after we filmed, you know, all night. We'd go, you know, grab a coffee or do whatever, you know, and then it was just being around that group. It was a lot of fun.
There was a lot that went on there, and I think that was where a lot of learning, a lot of bonding took place, and just getting to see an actual movie set form.
I loved being there, loved doing it. It was like, it was my dream, and I was actually like feeling like I was doing it.
Some of the cast, like Vince and Julie and Steve, were classmates of mine.
Because I was a student at Towson University at the time. I was enrolled in their theater department. and you guys were casting for this horror movie, and Will specifically really stood out to me in terms of how he was described. It's like, oh, kind of like stoner, which was, I'm not just saying this like on the record, like to that point in my life, I'd never smoked weed at all. Like I barely smoked anything.
Since?
Oh, when I got the role, I made a bet with my roommates that they said if I got the role, I'd have to go method and smoke up with them. So I did it like a couple times.
They probably meant meth.
Yeah, no, probably. They were really bad drug addicts. But
I remember responding to like the ad online, and you were like, well, send me over a headshot, and I was like, this was like a long time ago. Okay, the technology was not up to par. I couldn't like snap a photo with my iPhone and then like upload it and send it to you in 5 seconds. So I remember using a digital camera, going out to the tree out in the front of where I was, and I remember I think I was wearing like a green skirt. I think I remember the outfit. Took a photo, sent it to guys, and then we set up the audition. I remember going in and reading for Trish.
kind of had like shaggy hair, which I had at the time. Like kind of a tall, not tall, but like more of a slender, skinny. I think you maybe even said wimpy in the description. And I was like, well, I could pass for wimpy. I mean, I am wimpy.
And I just remember being over and over amazed by my classmates, you know, because we were always doing much more esoteric and sort of new agey kind of things and discovering ourselves and our bodies and our voices in school. And then, you know, seeing Vince's comic timing or seeing Steve's, you know, intensity and Julie's, you know, really nice acting and everybody, but those guys, seeing them in one atmosphere and then seeing them sort of put everything that we had learned into the actual work and being like, wow, these guys are really good. I hope I can step it up too.
So I'm sitting there for a while and I'm looking at my watch and I'm gonna be late to work. And I was like, I'm so close to being called in. There's like 4 people in front of me. And I tell my friend at the time who was auditioning as well, I was like, just tell him I'm really sorry that I had to go. I had to go to work. So I go to leave and I'm walking outside. And the second I step outside, I just kind of stop. And I'm like I don't want to work at, you know, in retail for the rest of my life. I want to be an actor. So like, it was not a crossroads moment, but it was like, what do you want? Like, you would rather, and years from now, you're going to look back and be like, I should have auditioned. So I went back in and I had written down I was going to read for like Will, Donnie, and someone else. I forget who. And I decided, all right, to make it quick, I'm just going to read for Will. And I go in there and I remember having fun with it. Like, I just read through it once and I felt good about it because I had like one line that I kind of like punched it up a little or something like that, and you and Jason laughed. And I felt good about it, so then I like walked out, but then I got a call back from you guys. And you're like, we really liked you, like the read. I remember you couldn't quite say it yet, but you were kind of clear in the beginning, like, look, can't promise anything, can't say anything officially, but in a roundabout way, you're our guy for this.
I remember you guys telling me how, you know, it's like, well, you know, we want the killer to be a little bit more subdued so people aren't just like, that's her, you know? And I remember I remember how I was back then. I had rather an ego. And I guess you must have told me that, you know, I got the character of Carrie, yeah. And I remember having to I remember making out with Max a few times for preparation for that role.
Right.
You do what you gotta do. But I'm not gonna lie, I was thrilled when you guys offered me Trish, because that was the one I wanted.
Let's see the other one too.
I like Trish. Trish is my character.
Trish is you.
I like her.
She's a yellow hair, big bad hair.
I could kick his ass.
You haven't seen him yet.
Getting a head mold, because I got my head cut off, obviously.
Right.
If I remember correctly, like they have like a cardboard toilet paper tube stuck in your mouth and like straws in your nose, and I'm claustrophobic. And the whole time going into this, I was thinking this is gonna suck, this is gonna suck. And like as he's doing it, it starts to suck because it's like you have to let it on till it dries. Being claustrophobic and getting that made was horrible. I was like, ah. And then he was cutting it off, and he broke the knife. He had a plastic knife he was using. He was like, oh, it broke. Let me see what I got here. Dude, he was futzing around, it felt like forever, and then finally he comes back with something else, and he's like, well, I'll just try not to, I'll be sure I don't cut you.
I remember it being difficult, but the only bad memory was the very last day I was on set in the storage facility. And you just blew up. And you were just venting and angry because somebody had slammed against a storage facility container and it messed up the audio, messed up the shot, and we had to start again. And I think I was the one who leaned against the wall.
I was waiting for you to admit it. 10 years. We only threw this party to find out it was you.
But that's not really that bad of a memory. I mean, you know.
For you?
There's this one scene where one of the characters like rears back with a knife and like knocks out a work light. And at that particular instant, the work light had to go out as she was hitting the work light. So I had to like pull the plug on it at that particular moment. And I think it took a couple tries, but it worked out, ended up in the movie. And I got a shout out during the commentary, so it was pretty sweet.
I remember that one time that we were shooting the fight between me and Steve, and you kept giving me a hard time about how I was saying the line, hold on, I know, I can remember it. It's, what are you gonna do, punch him? Or it was something like that when we were fighting.
What are you gonna do, stupid ass? Beat him to death?
What are you gonna do? Whatever. And you kept, and you were like, no. And I think I was emphasizing the wrong word, and it was coming off. You're like, it's coming off really Baltimore, really like thug girl. And I was like, I don't hear it. Like, I don't see what the problem is. But then when I like went back and heard it, I was like, oh, okay, I get it.
One day I did get a call from you, and you said, I can't believe I'm going to ask you this. Can I hit you with my car? And I said, yeah. A little scary the very first time because I had flipped over the car in a very precarious fashion and landed on the side, and the wheel came right about here. And basically, if I had landed like this, I would have been rolled over. But I was like this, and I just like kind of stiffened myself, realizing the danger was close by. You know, after those very quick seconds that felt very long passed, I was ready to do it again.
The lady's character dies, and we needed to shoot the scene with Katie's monologue in the stairwell. But we needed to do that while Steve was being made up for his kill scene.
Yeah.
So what was our solution? Tell us about that.
You put a wig on me. I put on Steve's shirt and jeans and shoes, and then I just laid in a pool of blood. Because it was like far enough back. I mean, Steve's like a slender dude, but like he's also like pretty muscular, and I was like really slender at the time. I mean, I'm still slender now, but like, I mean, there was, I thought, a huge discrepancy in our body types. But I was like probably the closest match to him at the time, and I was on set not doing anything. So you're like, Vince, we need you, just put this on, and then lay perfectly still in this pool of blood for however long this takes. Luckily, I was far enough in the background that I think like it was actually pretty good.
You must have a bad memory from some point where maybe I was picking on your acting or something.
No, I think you're pretty happy with my acting mostly.
I'm pretty sure I wasn't.
I think I felt way more comfortable doing the crazy part of the character than the normal part of the character, because you can fake crazy. You know, you can, at least I can, I don't know. I feel like I can fake crazy pretty good. I have a harder time faking normal, but I had the most fun playing the last bit, the craziest part. And the other part was more of a struggle, because I was concerned. Once you were pointing out my delivery, I was like, crap. You know, I was like, I have no idea. So I guess I tried to figure it out, and I guess I did, to some level. Well, you have to remember that I didn't do a lot of the killing. A lot of it was done for me via special effects. So my favorite, like as a viewer, the favorite death is always going to be the fire extinguisher, just because it's just physically impossible.
Will, poor soul, all he wanted to do was like blaze up with his buddy Dexter, played by Eric Soliard. Got capped off first with the axe.
Well, I mean, because the short-sightedness of the writers had me and Vince dying so soon. I didn't have as much time as others on location.
This, right now, this is why you died early.
The killer comes up, this like right, I guess, point of view shot on me. And we only had one take to do it. So I was wearing the same clothes. You gave me a little blood pack. And you're like, all right, when we say action, we're gonna roll up, say your line, and then pretend to stab you. We'll squeeze the blood pack, and then we'll cut down to you. The blood will be coming out. And I messed up. I mean, not horribly. The blood pack went a little low. If you really pay attention, and you and Jason were joking around too, and Dave were like, don't screw this up. You got one shot at this. Don't screw this up. So I was like, oh, come on, it's a blood pack. I know what I'm doing. And then it was like, not too low. Move it back up.
I really, really liked killing Julie. Because I'll never forget how that felt, because you were just like let loose, and I was like, like I just, all of my pent-up aggression at anything at that point just came out onto her abdomen. So that was great.
He thinks he's about to get it on with, I don't remember the character's name, Karen. Carrie, of course, my love. And he's looking around and he's thinking he's got good things coming, and then he gets a giant pair of shears into the top of his head. And there's blood and brains everywhere. And, you know, I tried to pull him out, but as the character, but I died. So.
You tried to get him.
I tried. I was going to take the movie in a totally different direction, but they got into my brain and I died.
Colin played the game well. Perhaps the best. At the end, he did choose to not play the game and hesitated maybe a little too long, and it obviously cost him. Now, it cut to black, so the audience can certainly imagine that a disfigured Colin is slinking away in some deep, dark corner. I know I like to imagine that.
Knowing what you know now, do you think Eric would have lived?
Knowing what I know now, would Eric have lived? Probably not. I don't see Eric outfoxing too many people.
Whatever.
His fate was sealed from the beginning, I think.
Too much attitude.
He was a jerk, man.
You need to chill out, man.
He was so much fun to play, though.
I moved to Los Angeles about 5 years ago.
I've been out in LA for about 6 years, 7 years.
Moved out to LA in 2010.
It's tough, man. It's tough. It definitely weeds out the people who aren't in it for the right reasons, you know.
Done some TV work with Comedy Central every now and then. Fellow Towson alum, Amy Schumer, about to blow up this year. So she's been I find that I'm very good at getting in with people and then just sticking around. So like with you guys in the movie, like I meet you guys and I just stick around.
You're like a leech.
Yeah, exactly. That's the perfect, like accurate description of what I do.
I've been in a couple of stage plays, a couple of films. I just shot an episode of Castle. And yeah, another good horror film, actually, 21 Days, which is getting ready to be released soon.
The Mysteries of Laura. So I had a co-star role against Deborah Messing, and it was The Mystery of the Sunken Sailor was the episode. So that was a lot of fun. It was very rewarding. I just wrapped up Test of Our Love. It's a romantic comedy. It's going to be targeted for the Hallmark or Lifetime channel.
I was going to do a short, and I think your exact words were, why bother doing a short? You can't sell it or do anything with it. You're already doing all the work it takes to basically do the feature. It's stupid, just do a feature. And I thought about that a lot, and it was true. Like, to do the short, I was going to do the casting, I was going to be getting wardrobe, I was going to be getting locations. I pretty much was going to have to be going through all those motions. So we decided, okay, let's give it a go. And that's primarily why I ended up writing and directing and producing The Creek. And then that came out in 07 to festivals, 08. We got DVD release and stuff, which was cool. I mean, it's small film and whatever, but it, played at some festivals, so I was really pleased with that.
I started a production company right after I graduated college, and since then I've been able to work as a freelancer on so many different types of productions, a lot of corporate video, some feature films, gotten to do more of those.
I honestly cherish the time that I did doing the acting, because it's all I ever wanted to do. And it wasn't until I did it that I realized I didn't want to do it. So it was perfect. I got to experience it. I got to live a little bit. It was nothing near Hollywood, but I got to live a little bit of what that reality was like. And then I was like, I hate this. So, you know, it was a life lesson.
I'm always afraid that if I ever got too far out of it, it would just be impossible to go back. You'd realize, God, it's so much work. It's so difficult. There's so much competition. And I feel like if you're not keeping your nose right as close to the fire as possible, so that that's really all that you see, the light is the only thing you see, and you don't start to get perspective. I don't want perspective. I want to remain insane and keep going after this thing. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, still out there auditioning, you know, living the working actor's life, and hopefully continue, and got some things on the horizon. Hopefully we'll you know, take it to the next level. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. It's work, but I enjoy it, so.
There's a couple ways you can go. There's Murder Game 2, Secret of the Ooze. There is Murder Game 2, Electric Boogaloo, in which we have to break dance to save the athletic center, the community center, from the drug dealers. I think that's how that movie went. There's 2 Murder, 2 Game or something, kind of Too Fast, Too Furious type thing. Havana Nights, always made for a good sort of like end cap.
If someone came up and told you that we had to make a sequel to this movie, would you do it?
I would ask you if there's any funding.
I guess it depends on when you'd be shooting. I'd have to look at my schedule and see if I'm available. I can give you the name of my agent and her contact info.
She is not that 18-year-old anymore.
And then I would ask if I got my own trailer. And then I would say, sure.
Like maybe something about Will. I mean, obviously Will, his story needs to be told. So like Murder Game 2,
Return of the Living Will?
Will's Diary or something like that.
Where would Trish have gone?
I think the character would have found another. I mean, obviously, she is like a traveling killer. You know, she is like, she's just gonna find another spot. She's gonna find another little town to go assimilate into and keep on killing, or maybe like upgrade to college, you know, because you have to move on in life, even the killers. But, you know, and yeah, you got more access.
When she's like 70, she's in like an old age home and she's killing all the old people.
Yeah, and by then you don't even need like a really good sturdy knife. At that point you need like a spork, and you could probably do the job.
In all honesty, if you were to do a sequel to the Murder Game, like everyone would have, like you have to start from scratch, like bring Katie back. You were talking at one point, and this is again I think where it helps that like we were friends, because if we weren't friends, I don't think you would find a way to try and like get me back in. But you're like, oh well, we never. I mean, I guess you got stabbed a lot, but we're not really sure you died. It's like, well, we're kind of sure, but like it wasn't like, you know, like Eric Dexter, he's dead. His head's gone.
The head got cut off pretty cleanly. Like it would have to be a twin.
Like he's not coming back.
I think it would have to be Dexter's twin. Mexter.
But like me, it's like, well, what if like we brought you into like a wheelchair or something like that, and just had you like paralyzed? You lost a lot of blood, but you were a fighter. You were able to make it.
Yeah, I would do it. I would do it, but this time I would do it for fun. And I think I'd probably do a better job, honestly.
Maybe we all would.
Probably.
Pretty sure we all would.
Probably, yeah.
It was really cool to be able to see something that I worked on while I was still in college actually on store shelves. It was nice to be able to go to Walmart and see it there with the cover and everything.
I mean, just looking back on it, it was so much fun, and we almost didn't get a chance to do it, Vince and I, because we were doing a play, got picked up in this big competition, and it was the same time as the movie, and we had to go back and forth with that, but we don't regret it for a second that we went with this route.
I don't regret it at all.
A lot of really good memories, a lot of knowledge, and I got to work with a lot of really cool people. So yeah, it was overall just a great experience for me, and I was really thankful for it, and still am.
Out of anyone that would have called and said we're doing a 10-year thing, you're like on a list of 2 or 3 people I would have agreed to. There's really so many. I've done a lot of independent, low-budget projects, and the thing that was great with you guys was you followed through. And most of the stuff I've worked on in New York, like I've done a lot of little independent films and stuff like that, you know, a lot of times they just don't finish. And that was what was neat with this, is like you saw the end project, you saw it was something you were passionate about.
The experience itself was great for me. Made a lot of friends, discovered a lot about myself, really. It was a good experience overall, and glad to be a part of it.
I just, I'm really proud of it. Oh, it was an amazing time. I'm so glad I had the opportunity.
It's very nice to be able to look back and be like, this was something where everybody was on the same page. It's a fun film that I'm proud to have been a part of. And since then, it was such a learning situation for me too, that also turned out to have such value on its own. And that really couldn't ask for anything more, I think.
It was a great experience, and I'm glad that everyone was able to come together and be a part of it. And it's been really great that I got to be a part of it as well. So hopefully people watch it and they continue to enjoy it for many years to come.
Sam, you look parched, honey.
Well, thank
Come on.
you.
Let's get you some hydration.
I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Oh, man. Whew.
It's been like 10 years.
It has. I know, and I don't look any older, do I?
No.
I look
you
exactly the same.
Exactly the same.
Am I looking at you? I will not talk.
Really
Epic
hard
fail
not to
right
be a
here.
dick.
I don't care.
It's a rambling answer that might not have even been the answer to your question, but.
So my interview's bullshit? Is that what you're saying? Fuck you, Rob Ferrari. I do what I want. Vince Eustace in this bitch. Swivel time. Ooh. Now I'm stuck. I can't go back.
Yeah, you can cut around that. I'm so horrible at this. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. Cut next.
Hey, not Rob. It's Vince. If you ever want to see Rob again, let me tell you the meeting place and how much money you need to bring. We're just finishing up the interview right now. I think I'm on camera still, so this might make part of it.
The Murder Game. Happy anniversary.
I would like to say from the bottom of my heart, happy 10-year anniversary, The Murder Game.
Still gory after all these years.
Murder Game, been close to my heart for 10 years. You finally have come back to me. Thank you.
It's been a fun ride.
Wish you success. That's it.
Camera's off, right?